What's going on? What's going on? Quick video. We back. What's his name? Sean Porter. I guess he was doing an interview, and he was talking about Demetrius Andres. And in fact, obviously, him and Demetrius Andres are, good friends. I guess it's one of his good friends. But he was saying that besides that, put that to the side. He's saying if Demetrius Andres was the face of Charlo Brothers, he would have Demetrius Andres beating the Charlo Brothers. He's saying that the thing that the Charlo Brothers have an issue with is, I guess he said, is movement. And that when it comes to movement, when it comes to boxing skills, that, quote, he sees Demetrius Andres as being the best out there. And he said that's one of the reasons. That's the reason you also don't hear them talking about Demetrius Andres. And he says just convenient with the politics the way that it is, gives him an excuse not to mention him. I guess when it comes to popularity, when it comes to the people that he signed for with, and I guess also with the belt that he has. And that's not a fight that we really want. It's kind of interesting that you say that due to the fact that he's a PBC fighter. And he's been with PBC for a very long time. You should know the history, and especially if, quote, that's your friend, you should know that, open your eyes to reality, and, of the situation and what really happened. When it comes to Jamel, before he had a title, he had a signed deal to fight Demetrius Andres at 154 pounds. That's way before Jamel was even seasoned as a fighter. And Demetrius Andres, his people, they set up the deal, signed it. It was a multi-fight deal that Demetrius Andres had with Showtime. So not only would you have beat that Charlo brother, by beating that Charlo brother, you would have access to Jamal, who also had a belt. You would have access to Lara, which also had a belt. So it would have opened up a lot of things for him. He would have put himself into a space where he could have got some big fights and maybe came out, came out a star in that whole situation, which then will open you up to a Canelo fight just due to the fact that you got all these belts and you beat all the top guys in the division. And it would put pressure on Canelo for that big, huge payday. He walked away from that fight, even though it was signed, date, everything. Somebody from Rock Nation approached him, say, hey, we'll give you $500,000. Don't sign that, and we'll give you a deal and sign you to Rock Nation, even though he couldn't do it because he was signed to somebody else. But he walked away from that fight, almost got himself into litigation. Rock Nation walked away from that, didn't give him the money that they said they were going to give him, so he took a loss when it came to the finances. And then in order to keep him getting sued from his current promoter, he had to sign an extension. And basically was put on the shelf for God knows how long, because of the bridges he had burned. After that, he started kind of fighting again. Showtime started putting him up there again, and then they made him an offer. It was a multi-fight deal offer again, and an offer to fight Charlo. And this part, he actually said this on a DAZN interview. So you can look it up and find a goddamn DAZN interview that he did. And he said the reason why he didn't sign with them, didn't sign that fight, it was because after Charlo, who else is over there? He said all they had was Charlo. So okay, I'll fight Charlo and I'll beat Charlo, and then who else is over there? At 160. That was his thought process. So because of that, he didn't sign. So he had opportunity to fight both Charlo brothers. And he turned both situations down and decided to sign to DAZN, where DAZN ended up getting Gennady Golovkin, ended up getting Canelo Alvarez, and everybody was, hey, everybody at 160 is over here. Charlo's going to have to sign to DAZN because all the 160 pounders are over here. And guess what? Demetrius Andres hasn't fought any of them. He's also willing to go up to 168 pounds, and they have three world champions, because with Canelo, Smith, and whatever, the other dude from the UK, you have all three of them, and he can't get any of those bouts either. None of them. And then his contract was just up with DAZN. So he was in a space again where he could have went out and saw what other deal he might be able to get. And especially due to the fact that he had a belt, he probably would have still been able to work out something with Showtime, work out something with PBC. But what did Demetrius Andres choose to do again? He chose to re-sign and do an extension with Eddie Hearn and DAZN. So he had the possibility of fighting these brothers. Okay, he had a possibility of going on a bigger, grander scale. If he had fought, Charlo, that also would have been pay-per-view. And they would have put up a lot of money for that. Showtime would have put up bread for that. Especially after his DAZN deal was done. So even if you did the DAZN deal, once you saw that these guys weren't serious and they weren't going to, give you the fights that you wanted, he had the option to move on. He had the option, to go to different pastures. But he's greener pastures, but he chose not to. He's comfortable making $500,000 a fight, fighting bums. And looking at what DAZN seems to be doing, that $500,000 might end up dropping down to $250,000 a fight. I'm sure they're going to have that conversation when they're going to pull him aside and say, we can't give you that $500,000 anymore. There's no premium fights. You're not doing premium fights. And that bread's going to drop down as well, Just like Tevin Farmer, after his DAZN deal was done, offered $2 million to fight Gervonta Tank Davis on a pay-per-view. They turned that down. He went to fight Diaz for $500,000 and took a loss. And we don't even know if he's getting his rematch yet again. Don't even know when he's fighting next. Turned down 2 M's plus upside because of a pay-per-view. Turned it down because it wasn't enough. It was a laughable offer. Terrence Crawford, same thing. His deal's over. How's your deal over and you don't even go and check to see what's available out there for you? You don't go and check to see what people are willing to pay you. Just so at least you can take those offers, and you can bring it to ESPN and be like, yo, these people offer me this. And use those offers as leverage to get you the most money that you can get. Didn't even do that. He didn't even know the viewership numbers that he brings into ESPN because they wouldn't even tell him that. They said they, quote, didn't know. Somehow they, quote, didn't know what the numbers were from ESPN Plus, and even though they know instantly because it's their freaking app. And he went for that ish, and his manager, Bomac, just came up with a particular number that he thought was good, which was lowest ish, due to the fact that he was the highest gate grosser on that platform, on Top Rank. He brings in the highest viewerships. Was in the position to maximize what he could do, didn't do it. And now complaining. When people make decisions, you know what I'm saying? We gotta hold them up to the decisions they made and the situation they put themselves into. When all the crying and the BSing starts. And as it pertains to this particular situation, that man had multiple opportunities to fight those brothers. And he chose not to. Because he thought there was a better path that he could take. Then he turns around and then you're screaming about how somebody's scared of you and they don't want to fight you. When you had options to fight them. And chose not to do it. So that man made the bed that he's in. Don't expect that man to fight anyone of any credibility for the next couple of years. On top of the years of not fighting anybody that he's already been going through. Because it's what he's comfortable with. But for now, like, subscribe, share. I'm out.